Midnight Movie Talk here on this Tuesday night, live from Los Angeles. Eric Weber in the chair, ready to rock and roll with a really fun topic tonight. One of the top CBMs of all time. The best comic book movies that you consider to be in that elite Mount Rushmore top five. Let's go top five CBMs of all time. Now, before we do that, first of all, welcome to the show. And let's talk about Thor Love and Thunder. Pretty good Monday, a little over 12 million for Monday, which is obviously down from Sunday. But what's interesting is that the decline from Sunday to Monday was less than the decline for Multiverse of Madness. So Thor Love and Thunder is holding fairly well. Now, there's one thing to say about that, and we're going to move on, is that it is summer. So I really wanted to see that number even higher because everyone's out. I mean, people have movies to see and things they have to fill their time with, such as seeing Thor Love and Thunder. But so much competition in the marketplace. And again, still Top Gun Maverick. Today was the day that it hit 600 million world domestic. Make that domestic. Okay. United States cash. Unbelievable. 600 million. I mean, when this film released weeks ago now, it's 8 weeks now? You're talking about a film that is a phenomenon that we're not going to see again anytime soon. I mean, this is a very rare occurrence. This is an endgame situation for a film that's not a comic book movie, as we're going to go to that in a moment. But again, just take a second to appreciate the fact that this film has captured the attention of the entire country, which is super rare, especially now that, well, we all know the pandemic era is over. But yes, one of the reasons why Top Gun Maverick proved again that people are coming out of their houses and living life again. Also want to mention this. The other night, I said I wasn't going to discuss The Gray Man. Okay. I said, if you're not going to invite me to see the movie, which they showed it to some people on Sunday, I'm not going to talk about your film. So today, Netflix reaches out and says, hey, Eric, do you want to come to the LA premiere tomorrow night? I said, yes. I will be talking about The Gray Man on Thursday here as it gets a theatrical release, very small, no AMC, no Regal. I don't even know if it's Cinemark. Very small release. And then it goes wide on Netflix the following week, but we'll talk about that on Thursday. But again, I will be going to The Gray Man premiere. We'll talk about it. Okay, here we go. Top comic book movies of all time. Now, this is the article that really inspired me. I know we talk about this all the time. Like, what are the greatest superhero / comic book movies of all time? Now, Rolling Stone really broke it down to superhero movies. So as you roll through here, you can see, the composite of everything they consider to be really good. I got Deadpool. Deadpool's way up on my list as well. Logan, which I do not have in the top of my list. We'll talk about that too. There's a bunch of stuff, but as they roll down, Justice League, the Zack Snyder cut is at number 50, and roll through all these. Okay, Ghost Rider, Megamind, which is based on a comic book of some sort, right? Superhero. Okay, let's go to the top 20. This is where we really want to look, and then I'm going to give you my top 5, and then I want you guys. This is where you guys come in, obviously, like you do all the time. You're going to come in. You're going to give me your top 5 all time. So think about that, and then hit send in the comments. I can't wait to read them. Okay, so here we go. Number 20, Superman 2. I was very young when Superman 2 came out. I remember liking the film. Listen, it's been a very long time since Superman 2, but it is a classic superhero CBM film, obviously. Batman Mask of Phantasm, animated 1993. This was, early 90s, and which seems like forever ago, right? When you talk about this, we'll forget, obviously, when we talk about Superman 2, you're talking about eons ago. But we roll up the list. Let's go. 18, Winter Soldier. To them, this is according to Rolling Stone, okay? X2 is at 17. Roll into 16, Avengers Infinity War. You're going to see that on my list in a few moments. 15, Guardians of the Galaxy. You're going to see that film on my list in a few moments. Spider-Man, the original, way up there at 14. 13, X-Men Days of Future Past, which I would agree that's the best X-Men for me. Spider-Man Homecoming in there at 12. 11, Iron Man. It's in my top 5. We'll get to it momentarily. Incredibles. Again, this is superhero film, so we discard that. Wonder Woman. Let's stop for a moment. Pause. Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman. How much better is Patty Jenkins' first Wonder Woman film versus Wonder Woman 84. It is unreal, the difference in quality between those two films. So very clearly, yes, they have the right Wonder Woman film there. Imagine if it was 84. Be like, wow, this whole list is null and void. Ragnarok up at 8. And here's what I said after seeing Thor: Love and Thunder. I have Thor: Love and Thunder ahead of Ragnarok. So, obviously they didn't do this. I think they hadn't seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet. But I like Ragnarok a lot too. But again, I like Love and Thunder more. Dark Knight. You're going to hear about that in a moment. Spider-Verse at 6. Here we go. Top 5, according to Rolling Stone, superhero movies, a.k.a. CBMs. Superman, the original, Richard Donner, 1978. Obviously, we know that is a classic film. And there it is. Let's go to Endgame. You'll see that in a minute. At 4. 3, Logan. Pause. I can't wait to read your list. But when we have Logan at number 3, I need you guys to pause, take a deep breath, and think about what I'm about to tell you if you haven't heard this from me before. Has there ever been a weaker, lamer, more sterile bad guy than Boyd Holbrook in Logan? A guy who's large, basically his evilness emits from his southern accent. That is the extent of his powers. You can't have Logan that high on your list when you have one of the worst villains of all time. I mean, he's not the only. I know there's also the evil Logan, right? There's the evil Wolverine, but no way. So I'm sorry. Put Logan on your list, but before you do that, think about how bad that villain was in that film. Spider-Man 2, clearly, I think everyone will agree. I say No Way Home matches Spider-Man 2, but if you're talking about Spider-Man films, obviously that's going to be right up there. And then we go to their number 1, which is Black Panther. Interesting choice. I like Black Panther, but Black Panther is not in my top 5 CBMs of all time. Okay. So here comes we're going to get to your comments in a moment, and they're going to be your lists, and I can't wait to go over those. I hope someone has Logan on there so I can go off again. Number 5 for me is Iron Man. When you look at Robert Downey Jr. being selected to play Iron Man, and some of you don't remember what was going on at that time with RDJ. He was coming off of all the drug baggage. He was basically toxic in Hollywood, and Paramount. Remember, Paramount had Marvel and had a chance to buy Marvel, and they said, nah, I think we're going to pass. Disney's like, we'll take it. If they don't nail Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man and he becomes Tony Stark, then we might not have the Marvel Studios that we have today. That's how seminal this film is to the future of all CBMs going forward. If you don't have Iron Man very close to the top of your list, or at least in your top 10 for sure, for me, top 5, you need to reevaluate because of its importance to the genre. Now we're going to go to number 4 for me, Avengers Infinity War. Because of how much I value the culmination of that roughly a decade, right? Iron Man, and then we get 10 years, and then we go a little bit further than that when we get to Endgame. But when you look at Infinity War, you're talking about a film that obviously builds up to where I have Endgame ahead of this. But imagine a film that ends with a cliffhanger the way that it did and makes you wait an entire year to figure out who's going to survive, who's not going to survive, is everyone going to die? What an ending, and what an experience with a packed movie house. I mean, unbelievable. The movie theater that night, one of those experiences I'll never forget. That and Endgame. And Endgame's coming up very shortly. 4 is Infinity War. 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. Why? Very simply, James Gunn's direction. If you hand Guardians of the Galaxy to anyone but James Gunn, you do not get the film that we get, right? The use of the music, the tape, everything about that film is all about the stylistic choices of James Gunn. Very much like RDJ and Iron Man was the perfect fit, James Gunn is the ideal selection for Guardians of the Galaxy. That's why it's number 3. I just love how the film moves and breathes and just jams. And I'll tell you, when I saw this film, the week of opening, I saw it, I think on a Monday or Tuesday at a press screening. And I had low expectations. Like, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's August. Who cares? It's a throwaway movie. blown away. Like I can't remember being blown away by a film. I had such a low expectation, and then seeing the final product, the difference between where I thought it would be and what it actually was one of the largest. You feel a void. It just absolutely, the difference is astounding. I mean, I really still can't believe what he did with that film. It's, by the way, better than Guardians 2. I think that is no question about that either. The Dark Knight is my number 2 film. We have to get DC in there, and if we're going to pick DC, then this is the one to go with. Obviously, you've got Nolan, and really, when you think about just classic villains in CBMs, it's Heath Ledger. Okay, we know what he means to that character of the Joker, and that film, the way that it's just grounded, right? And that's one of the reasons why The Dark Knight works so well. And it's really just all about Nolan and his choices and his directorial ambition in that film. And I think that for me, Matt Reeves is off to a flying start with the Batman. I mean, I can't wait to see what he does next. I just hope the next time around for number 2 that he learns how to condense his film and bring it in a little closer to 215. I think that's one of the problems with the Batman. But I love Matt Reeves, and I can't wait to see what comes next. You guys know it's number 1. Avengers Endgame. If you don't have Avengers Endgame in your top 10, obviously you're doing something horrendously wrong. This is very clearly the number 1 comic book movie of all time. This is the culmination of that decade plus. All of the story arcs combining to really a 3-hour, expansive epic that I didn't want to end. And the emotional beats in that film, not knowing. We all knew someone was going to bite it, right? We didn't know. Everyone thought it was Captain America. Well, sort of. It's all about Robert Downey Jr. going down. And when I saw that film week of opening, before, you know how hard it was to not tell people. Then they asked you, they go, who died in the film? I'm like, I don't want to tell you because I want you to experience it like I did. The shock that it was Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, Tony Stark, that is going to die in the film. And that choice, and I think a lot of people were not expecting that, just knowing what he meant to the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. And what's interesting when you look at my list, right? We start with Iron Man and we wrap with Endgame, which is, I think, a really strong top 5. We're going to get your comments momentarily. I can't wait to read them. By the way, tonight's kit, the soccer kit tonight, football kit for those of you overseas. Western United from Australia, the A-League, directly from Sydney, Australia tonight. So thrilled to have that one on. Okay, here we go. Comment time. Let's do it. Again, let's give me your top 5. You got to limit it to 5. Okay, that's part of the challenge here. Gavin, good evening to you. You were first, so I'm going to you first. Here we go. Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight, Guardians. You have 2. You have volume 2 over. Do you have it over 1, or you just have it in there? Looking. Okay. I definitely think 1's better than 2. Batman Returns, Infinity War, Mask of Phantasm, Future Past, Kick-Ass. Yeah, Kick-Ass is fun. Doctor Strange 2, and Captain America 2. Okay, good list. Again, let's do top 5. But Gavin, love it. Very solid list. Why am I missing? Am I missing Endgame in this? Gavin, what did you must? I assume you missed that. I assume you made a mistake. There's no way. Tell me you did. Endgame, Batman, Dark Knight, Infinity War, Deadpool, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Logan. Rob, we went through those, right? You had a bunch of the same ones at Rolling Stone, and I imagine you would. I mean, they have pretty good taste. Again, I want you to reconsider Logan. I know that there are solid moments in Logan. I really like Mangold's direction. Without question, there's some really high moments in that film. That said, tell me that Boyd Holbrook, I'm pretty sure that's what his name is not the worst villain in the history of comic book movies. I mean, he's right there. He's in the top 2. I don't know. Give me someone worse. After marinating on Thor 4, I've realized and fully formed within my mind that this is one of the worst. Oh, no way. No, superhero movies, you can't say that. You know I like the film. I really do. I've seen it twice. Okay, why? The main reason because Christian Bale is a heavyweight story of losing his daughter in his arms, slay the gods, and the movie then turns around and turns into a big goddamn joke. Yes, but he does carry on right? Thor carries on with love and thunder at the end. I love how the film ends. I'm very surprised you don't like that. Rob, if you include graphic novels, I find a spot for Watchmen and Sin City. I mean, you could absolutely say that those are CBMs. Sure. I mean, it's really, we don't have to say it has to be this or that, but I think CBM is a pretty expansive term, right? So feel free to put whatever you want in there. Jezebel, good evening to you. Dark Knight, Man of Steel. Okay, we got to talk about Man of Steel. Give me 1 second. Spider-Man 2, Logan, The Batman, Joker, Watchmen, Infinity War, Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Guardians, another non-Endgame. What's going on here, guys? Come on. This is, you guys pranking me. Is it April 1st? No, it is not. It's July 12th. Okay, let's talk about Man of Steel for a moment, and then we're going to keep going on this. Man of Steel is a film. You talk about a film that I loved and then turned on. It's Man of Steel. The first like hour and a half of that film, this is one of the best films, certainly CBMs. I liked it as a great film, period. But by that final act that goes on for an eternity, Zod and Superman and the fight and the CGI and it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going, and you're like, oh my god, Man of Steel is very similar to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Films I loved and then turned on and wanted to strangle. That they are very similar that way for the exact same reason, because the directors beat you over the head with a repetition of ideas until you're bludgeoned into submission by their choices. So Man of Steel equals Everything Everywhere All at Once. There it is. There's the quote of the night. But that's a good list, Jezebel. Thanks for joining tonight, by the way. Superhero movies again. If jokes were far few, I would have much better time. Only a few of the jokes landed and started to become ridiculous. I couldn't take anything seriously. I understand there's a lot of comedy. Taika likes to do that, but I think it works. Again, entertaining film for me, 100%. That said, um, it's just a good film. I'm sorry, I like it, but I understand that some people have issues with it. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Gone Girl, you want to bet the moose that Avatar will beat Maverick at the domestic? Listen, not this year. If you're going to go into next year, no, it won't. Yes, I will. That's it. 100%. Bet. Not going to happen. Nope. Avatar's not going to do as well as people think. It's going to do well. It's not going to bomb. It's just not going to do as well as everyone thinks. It's early. I'm calling it now. Marvel 227. Yes, I'm going to the Gray Man. Yes. You know how the game's played. I literally told you guys that if you go to the premiere and you come out of the premiere and you say this movie is terrible, there's a high likelihood you're not going back. That said, people have already said that the Gray Man is not great. Go look at some of the reactions that came out on Sunday. So I think that they'll be a little more lenient tomorrow if I decide to come out and destroy the movie. Now, that said, I don't want to. I'm not looking to do that. But we'll talk about it Thursday. Gray Man review on Thursday. For me, there's 4 levels of Marvel. Bottom tier, mid Marvel, top tier, elite tier. Yes, thank you. I called it elite tier. So I hope that that's stuck. Only 3 movies go into elite tier for me. Infinity War, Endgame, and No Way Home. And, well, you're not going to... Okay, you're a Marvel. Sorry, I was going to say for DC, you got to put The Dark Knight in there for sure. Okay, so yeah, that's fair. I think those are all good. No Way Home is right there for me. Deadpool is right there, close to the top 5. But I think I have very strong selections in my top 5. Very hard to move some of those films out of there. But I did, at one time, I had No Way Home in there. And I thought about it and I said, might be recency bias on that. So I decided to slide it down just a little bit, like number 6 for that. Okay, Fantastic Four is the pinnacle of superhero movies. Scott Kernan coming in here and playing me. Listen, man, I will say this about Fantastic Four. Josh Trank did not direct the worst comic movie of all time. I will take Fantastic Four over Wonder Woman 84 all day, every day, for the rest of time. Okay, that's how bad Wonder Woman 84 is. So I think that if we're going to compare like bad films, 84 is way worse. Way worse. Number 1 for you, Joshua. As a Gen Xer, I'm not surprised at this. Superman, 1978. Again, I was super young, so I saw it, but it's been forever. I mean, I haven't seen the film in 30 plus years, so I need to go back and watch. Obviously, it's going to be dated. I get it, but it is a seminal superhero film. And no question that it's one of the best of all time. Okay, so we got that. Let's see. Guardian 1, Iron Man 1, Avengers Assemble, Winter Soldier, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Ragnarok. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's not a lot of really terrible. Okay, we should play a quick game. What are the worst CBMs of all time? Give me your three worst, and you better have Wonder Woman 84 on there. And if you have Iron Man 3 on that list, then you get bonus points and you'll be elevated in the chat if you do that for me. Infinity War, Dark Knight. If I had to pick one, then the second, the trilogy, yeah, the whole thing. Exactly. Dark Knight is probably the best of them. Batman versus Superman, Days of Future Past, and Watchmen. Okay, but not interesting. Infinity War over Endgame. I have them both, obviously, in my top five, but I mean, Endgame for me just because of the finish. Clearly, the completion of our arcs of stories that we were told for over a decade. Superhero movies again. Mid Marvel, Homecoming, Ant-Man, Black Widow, Ultron, Marvel, Strange 2. Strange 2 is mid at best. Yeah, I would totally agree on that. 120%. Okay, I talk Marvel 227. Spider-Verse, Dark Knight, Logan, Suicide Squad, the remake, obviously, the James Gunn version. Civil War, The Batman, Infinity War, Endgame, Spider-Man 2, and Wonder Woman. Okay, so those are solid, and Spider-Verse is a very good pick. I just kind of went for live action versus animated, but I would have Spider-Verse in the top 10. It's there once you get like above 5, they're kind of bunched in there. Deadpool, as I mentioned, certainly Spider-Verse is in there. No Way Home, but I think my top 5 are pretty solidified. I've been solid. I've been on those for a long time. Those are my favorite CBMs. Bottom tier, Iron Man 2. Watch out. Iron Man 3 is worse than Iron Man 2. Make sure we get that right. Make sure we get that right. Do not mess that up. BP was mediocre. Joshua, welcome to the channel. I would agree that Black Panther is a solid movie. I don't think it is. I would put it above mid. I wouldn't say it's mediocre for me. I would say that it is top, mid to top. I wouldn't say elite. So to have it number 1, I'm not so sure I would do that for sure. I mean, that's what they had. They have it number 1, and I'm like, let's read why they say that. I always love to do that. Okay, it's a really long thing, but I will say this. Here's one thing that I will agree. That Ryan Coogler is I love Ryan Coogler. Okay. I think he is a hell of a director, going back to Fruitvale Station, which is very clearly where they found him. They saw that movie and go, this guy, and then Creed, but it starts with Fruitvale Station. And you look at what he has, the talent, and I can't wait to see. I hope that Ryan Coogler doesn't get lost in Black Panther movies for the rest of his career, because I think he's a better filmmaker than just making CBMs. And listen, remember we talk about, I like CBMs, but at the same time, I don't want to watch CBMs for the rest of my life. There's a lot of other good things out there. So I hope that Coogler gets to make some other things. Are these the worst? These better be, Josh. Yeah, 100%. Here's the worst. Okay, we said the best. Here's the worst. This is our first worst one. 84, Iron Man 3, Blade 3, Thor: The Dark World, yeah, for sure, and Spider-Man 3. Yep, those are all good picks. 84 is by far number 1, and I love that you have Iron Man 3 there. I hope Josh, you're not just doing that for me, right? You know in your heart that Iron Man 3 is not good. Okay, there's no moving off of that. JT, you're going to see Where the Crawdads Sing. Oh my God, I'm going to see it on Thursday. I've heard so mixed. We're talking about it Thursday. They have that and The Gray Man on Thursday. Okay, there we go. We got that. I have been to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yes, because I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, so I drove over there quite a bit. Okay, top tier DCEU. This is interesting to me. Aquaman is number 1. No, okay, I do not agree with that. Fine. Man of Steel, again, I told you why. Man of Steel and Everything Everywhere All at Once, just off the rails for me because of the repetition and the just bashing your skull in at the end of the film. Okay, here's what I will say about Aquaman. Same thing is wrong with Aquaman that is wrong with Man of Steel. They go on too long, and they bludgeon you with CGI battles for the remainder of the film. When I came out of Aquaman, I said, there's enough film in Aquaman for 2 full Aquamen. That is how overlong and overwrought that film needs to be. It should have been that stopped and then a sequel made. They could have literally made two films out of that one. That's why I'm not a fan of Aquaman. Another film that I liked and then turned on. Liked and turned on. Man of Steel, Aquaman, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Films I liked and then turned on, and there was no coming back. It's like a relationship that you're in. You're in love. You can't see a future without the person you're with. And then all of a sudden something happens and you're like, we want a divorce. It's over. Never again. That was me in these movies. Oh my God. I think that Infinity War is one of the most perfect films ever. It's very good, and I agree, but I still have, and Joshua agrees with you, I still have it Endgame above. Endgame's above. Um, okay, so here we go, Josh. I didn't get your list. Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, Winter Soldier, Days of Future Past. Good list, solid list there. Um, for me, I'm not as big on Civil War and Winter Soldier as some of you. I like them. I just don't have them in the top, very top. It's been a long time since I've seen either one of them, but I just remember the initial reaction on both was it's okay. I wanted a little bit more or something different. The Dark Knight is amazing. Only a one-time watch. It loses power after the initial watch. A lot of films are that way. The Batman is one of the greatest of all time. Just shorten it a bit. That's the problem. Is remember, whenever you extend a movie too long, you wear on the patience of the viewer, and that is not a good space to be in because then you turn on the film like I did. That's the ones I just mentioned. JT, what are your favorites? Here we go. Black Panther, Endgame, Shazam, Batman, Captain America, Winter Soldier, Iron Man, Joker. Yeah, Joker for sure. Let's pause for a moment and talk about Joker. I've said it many times here on Midnight Movie Talk. Joker is a film that you have to respect for the simple fact that Warner Brothers gave Todd Phillips an opportunity to make a film that a lot of studios would never allow happen. Okay, especially with a character from a major comic book Mount Rushmore, figure head in Batman. You got the Joker, his arch nemesis, and you're going to give him a film that is super dark, mega violent, R-rated. Warner Brothers gave Todd Phillips incredible leeway when they made Joker. And you can say, as I've said so many times here, that it's a combination of the King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. No one's going to argue that. It's absolutely a melding of those two films. That said, again, Warner Brothers gave Todd Phillips the opportunity to make a hell of a wild film that let's just say it like that, no other studio would let that happen. So bash Warner Brothers all you want, and then look at Joker and remember that they said, yes, make that film. And it made $1 billion worldwide. Because when you take artistic chances and you roll the dice, which I think Marvel needs to do, because we have the Marvel fatigue right now, MCU fatigue is very real. Roll the dice, give us something mega edgy. Marvel's not going to allow it. DC and Warner Brothers, they said, we'll let you make this film. That's why I like Warner Brothers a lot, and I will defend them forever. Everyone's has their, pimples and zits and whatever the hell warts. But Warner Brothers is absolutely a ballsy studio. Aaliyah, good evening to you. Natasha and Tony died. Let's not forget Natasha. That's right. Hello. I totally forgot. Oh my God. Yes, correct. Which makes Black Widow like weird, right? No question that film. Even though I like Black Widow more than a lot of people, it makes it weird. It'd be like going back and watching Iron Man knowing that he died, right? It's not as easy to do when you've already you know what I'm saying. So here is absolutely both of them, and I think that it's just such a great. I keep using expansive, but it's 100% true. These films are epics. Certainly, Endgame. The ending with the boats and the who's choice in the Dark Knight. Yep, I would agree with that 100%. Kevin, do you think HBO Max merger with Discovery Plus, will it work? We're going to find out. I mean, right now you're looking at Zaslav is really putting his print as you expect. They're going to put their absolute what they want in the studio on point. I mean, that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to come in and to get things how he thinks is the best way to go forward with Warner Brothers and HBO Max in the future. And hopefully he makes the right choices. I think that a combination of putting the DCEU more into a uniform, connected, certainly universe would be very key and something he should look into, and I think he is. But I also don't mind going outside of it and doing the Batman, doing Joker, doing these things that maybe aren't so connected to the DCEU. They're just DC. No problem with that whatsoever. Driz Sensei, good evening to you again. Guardians of the Galaxy #1. Good call. Batman Begins. Love it. Dark Knight. Good. Infinity War and Logan. Remember, someone defend Logan. Someone tell me I'm wrong about Boyd Holbrook in Logan. No one's been able to do that. I haven't watched the film in, is it 5 years now? More than that. Remind me that I'm right. That Boyd Holbrook is the worst villain in the history of comic book movies. If I recall correctly, he doesn't do one thing that is evil as the bad guy. that is an accomplishment. You get through an entire movie as the villain and not have something happen that demonstrates to the audience that you are one bad MFer. So tell me I'm wrong. Someone tell me that he did something in that movie and I'm forgetting it. Because there's no way. That's why I went, what the hell? This is the worst bad guy ever. Claudio, good evening to you. Dark Knight, Endgame, Guardians of the Galaxy, Wonder Woman, Joker. Good picks. I have no problem with any of those picks. I don't have a problem with any of your picks, guys. I just want you to rethink things like Logan for the choice of the bad dude, the villain in the film. The Batman is very good. I would agree. Listen, you guys know how much I love Matt Reeves, and I did before. I didn't fall in love with Matt Reeves because of the Batman. We've had a relationship going way back to Cloverfield, going back to Let Me In. Though that's when my love affair with him started with Matt Reeves. It started way back in the olden days. So don't call me a bandwagon Matt Reeves guy, okay? That's one of the beautiful things about watching lots of films. You get to latch on to a young director and see talent and go, and then in a few years when they're huge, you go, oh yeah, I remember it. I saw that. I saw the talent. And for me, you go back to Ryan Coogler and you look at Fruitvale Station, you look at Rose Glass and St. Maud. There's going to be a day coming where Rose Glass is going to be an Oscar-nominated director, and it's going to be sooner than later. And I remember sitting through St. Maud going, I see it. I see the talent. That's the beauty of watching lots of films. You see talent, and you go, I want to buy stock in that person. You know, it's very, you watch them and you go, this person is very good at what they do. Could be an actor, could be a director, cinematographer, score, whatever it is. All these things. Micah Levi for me in score. I mean, anytime you listen to one of Micah's scores, you're like, oh, wow, that is a singular choice and it works perfectly. So that's why I say watch lots of films, because you can see these young directors coming up. Rose Glass. I'm saying it for the 100th time here on Midnight Movie Talk. Rose Glass will be a huge director. Massive, huge, successful. We'll talk about her as one of the greats. It's going to happen. JT, Deadpool, good call. Spider-Man 2, No Way Home, love it. Deadpool's great. Deadpool's another film. Fox said, go ahead and make this R-rated, super violent, mega F-bomb movie, and it worked because of why? Ryan Reynolds. Same thing as RDJ as Iron Man, and Chris Hemsworth as Thor, and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. And Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. When you nail the casting and you absolutely get it right, then the rest of it flows from that one decision. Because if you get that wrong, it's the wrong person in the role, it will never become what it could have become. And that's whenever I watch a film, we talk about this, guys, all the time. When you watch a film that could have been better by choices, forget casting, just like choices in the movie, it's so frustrating. So you better get the casting right. That's the first thing you got to get right when you make a film. If you get that wrong, the whole thing's wrong. I just listed 4 major people that if you don't have them in the right spots, the movies aren't as good. So make sure you get it right. Also, one quick story I want to tell you about this. Okay, so for Guardians of the Galaxy, I remember this is, by the way, the first time I ever told this story, so be ready. This is a pretty good one. So I was at a party for Black Panther, and it was for the awards. They were pushing it for Oscars. So I went down to the party. I talked to Kevin Feige, talked to all these people, and I talked to Finn. I want to say, God, what's her first name? She's a casting director. She's huge out here. I stopped her for a moment. Small party. There were only a few people there, and I said, "Hey, I know you cast the movie, all the Marvel movies. Can you tell me, something that maybe someone's never heard, and an interesting story?" She told me about Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. When they were casting Guardians of the Galaxy, Disney, Marvel, they wanted a certain this, then that. She was absolutely determined that it was Chris Pratt. She saw him, he was amazing, and she said, "This is Star-Lord." And I would agree that that is absolutely another nailed casting. She went to bat for Chris Pratt, and he became Star-Lord, and the rest is history. One of the biggest stars out there. I mean, his name is huge. He's in massive franchises, as you guys know, between Jurassic World, Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's had certainly other films as he is the star. But you look at, he was coming up at that time, and remember, he was in Moneyball. Moneyball, I love. By the way, Moneyball's up here somewhere. Where is it? There it is. It's all the way. You see up there? There's the bottom of it. Moneyball. He's in Moneyball. He plays one of the Oakland A's players, and I remember going, "This is a guy who's coming up, right?" And then she saw him as he came in to read for Star-Lord, and she picked him. Awesome, awesome. David, getting to you. Can I talk about how good Blade is? Probably the best adult CBM of all time. I would agree. It's been a long time, so again, we forget about things that are not recent. It's recency bias. Wesley Snipes, forever. So I see Mahershala Ali does in the role. Mahershala is, first of all, I'll say a couple thoughts on Mahershala Ali. So Mahershala, when you meet people in person, you get a sense of their aura and or just their stature and what they bring to the table physically. You can see it on screen. It's one thing. I met him. This is like name dropping night, but I'm just, this is the reality, guys. I just want you to understand that I do these things and I want to bring you into the world. I'm at the party. It's for Green Book, and Mahershala Ali comes up. Super cool dude. Very cordial, really nice guy. But I remember distinctly seeing him in person. He came up, and I remember just feeling like, just looking at this guy going, he has a presence. Mahershala Ali has a presence that, again, when you, as a casting director, going back to the story about Chris Pratt, when you see hundreds of actors, when someone stands out like Mahershala Ali, like Chris Pratt, you see them and you go, bang, that's it. That person's a star. And I think that is a very important skill to have. And certainly in movies, when we talk about evaluating films, you have to be able to evaluate things that are going to work. And I can tell you right now, Mahershala Ali will work in Blade because physically he has it. He has a presence about him. When I met him that night, I just go, yeah, this guy's a badass. Aaliyah again. Avatar has a chance to beat Maverick worldwide, but I don't think domestic. It will be interesting to observe. Remember this, Avatar obviously comes out at the end of the year, so we're really going to count that into 2023 for the box office, even if it starts in 2022. We can count some of it, but really, as of the first, you count the next year. I think you're right. Worldwide, especially Avatar in China, assuming things are normal again. Let's hope, and I hate to say, I'm not like hope and pray all the time, but listen, let's all just say a moment, give a moment, and say, let's just hope that going forward this fall is what we're experiencing now. Okay. I hope that we continue to do what we're doing now and things don't all of a sudden change back and revert back to where we were a year ago or 2 years ago. I think we've all decided to move on. Now, that said, if that's the case, Avatar will be big overseas in China. Maybe Russia gets back in. Hard to say. I don't know. I mean, it's really, that whole situation's an absolute shit show, right? We know that. So if Russia's out, that's money that's not going to be there. But if China's in, China and Avatar, look at the numbers there. I'll pull it up in front of me, but it's insane what it did there. So if you have China, Avatar will do well there. No question. Rob, I agree. The first half of Man of Steel is an A+. Oh, boom. Thank you, Rob. The second half is a C or D. Off the rails with overloaded never. Rob, this is that's it. I feel like just cutting off the stream. We got about 20 more minutes, but here's the deal. You nailed it, Rob. You absolutely nailed it, and you're one of the few people that have seen this film exactly how I see it. The first half is A+. It is a absolute home run, grand slam, everything about it. I'm just sitting there, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane. Oh my God, this film. And then the second half comes and you're like, I want to kill this film. And that is the worst, just like Everything Everywhere All at Once. When something happens in the film that turns you against it and it never comes back because it continues and continues, then I hate that. It's one of the worst feelings. And Man of Steel is absolutely one of those. Thank you for being one of the few people who agree with me on that. Most people do not see it the same way. So it's very refreshing I thank you for being my kindred spirit here tonight and agreeing with me on that. Trey, didn't mean to put Batman in twice. My top 5 is Batman, Dark Knight, Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2, and Infinity War. Again, no Endgame. Infinity War is great. I just think Endgame's better because, again, it's just a wrap. But I understand why it is there. Okay. Deadpool 2 is written so well and constant use of quick understanding was so good. Deadpool 2 is not as good as Deadpool 1. Okay, I don't think it's a bad film. I like Deadpool 2, but it's not as good as 1. Just like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. No. Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Not 2, 1. 1 greater than 2. Deadpool 1 greater than 2. I still like Deadpool 2, and I still enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but Guardians of the Galaxy is the absolute best of the number 1. Okay. Definitely over 84. Yeah, I mean, 84 is so bad. God, it's so bad. Okay, worst 3, Driz. Suicide Squad, the original, yes, David Ayer. Captain Marvel, yeah, not great. And Batman versus Superman, I like all those picks, but again, you have to have Wonder Woman 84 in there. You have to. You got to have Wonder Woman 84 in your worst because it's so bad. Like Rob gets it here. 84, Green Lantern, Catwoman, how soon we forget. Origins, Wolverine, and Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix, not a great film. I didn't hate as much as everybody else. We can agree. Dark Phoenix is very much like Fantastic Four to me. They're just not great. They're not the worst. They're not repugnant. They're not unwatchable. They're just not, great films. But I would still choose Dark Phoenix or, without question, Fantastic Four over Wonder Woman 84. If I had to watch one of those again, I'm not going to watch any of them again, but if I had to, if you said, you have to watch one of these films, worst comic book films, Wonder Woman 84, good job. The Discrimination of Eternity, X-Men, Dark Phoenix, Catwoman, Iron Man 3. Good. We're on this. You guys are coming around. I love it. I like Iron Man 3. We agree it's one of the funniest MCU films. Shane Black knows how to do comedy, excluding the Predator. Yeah, Predator wasn't great. There's moments that were okay, but again, that's a film that you have a villain in the Mandarin that is just first half is super dark, evil, perfect. I'm loving it. It's grounded. It's everything I want. And then that was probably the singular moment you had. What is the one moment when you watched a film and your eyes fully popped out of your head in a WTF fashion when you watch Iron Man 3 and when all of a sudden he goes into the English accent, Kingsley, and you go, what the? Oh my God, they're doing what? They're ripping the Mandarin's penis off right now. He's gone. It is ripped. It's shredded. It is Lorena Bobbitt. That's what happened in Iron Man 3. You can't defend that. There's no defending what they do to the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. There's no coming back from that. You could have the best film ever made in the history of cinema after they rip the penis off of the Mandarin, and it still wouldn't be able to recover Iron Man 3. That's how horrendous and truly obscene that decision was. Good. I'm going to cut that out. That's going to be my rant on Iron Man 3. What was this at 9:45? I'm going to go cut that out and post that tomorrow. And everyone, oh my God, but I'm 100% accurate. Worst of all time, Thor 4. Get out of here. 84, Iron Man 2 and 3, Fantastic Four, Green Lantern. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind those picks. Kevin, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, domestic run, 795, 800 worldwide. Total run, 1 billion. Kevin, I like it. I mean, it's a good. Here's the thing. It's going to benefit from time. You need time to refresh, regenerate interest in your next film. MCU needs 4 months. They have 4 months now, right? You've got August, September, October, November. You've got 4 full months to have people forget about the MCU. If I was Kevin Feige and Disney right now, I would, whatever they're doing for the shows, I would honestly not even promote them. I would let the MCU fall and fade so far into the background that when Black Panther 2 comes out, it'll feel fresh. What? Oh my God, it's another Marvel film. We need 4 months, 120 plus days in between now and the next film to give us the break that it needs. The franchise has to have that or it's going to be in real trouble. You got to have time away. You can't do you're going to get tired of it. I've said it a million times. Let's do midnight movie talk every night for 7 hours. You go, get this guy out of here. I'm sure you're already saying that. But you would really say that. Jezebel, worst CBMs, Justice League, Suicide Squad, 84, Ragnarok, Love and Thunder, Green Lantern, Catwoman, Batman and Robin, good call, Dark Phoenix, and Apocalypse. These are all good picks. There's so many bad ones. I can't believe you have Ragnarok in there, though. I like Ragnarok for sure. And again, I think you got Ragnarok, and you have, for me, Love and Thunder 1, Ragnarok 2, Thor 1, and then Dark World clearly is the worst. So, but I love that everyone has different picks. There's nothing wrong with that. I just like to see the same thing show up over and over. Iron Man 2, Driz, come on, man. No way. Iron Man 3 is way worse than 2. Thor, Love and Thunder. Come on, guys. Why? Why is it so bad? Why were you guys so offended by Thor, Love and Thunder? Like, what did that film do that made you guys hate it? A lot of you really hate the film. I don't know what it is. I mean, I can't figure it out. You can tell me and I still won't be able to figure it out. I'll be like, I don't see it. If Ryan Coogler wants to stay in the Black Panther world for years, and if it makes him happy, it's all that counts. Yes, I would agree. I just want to see him, Aaliyah, as a talented filmmaker, expand his horizons, get outside of comic book movies, and give us more things like Fruitvale Station. Give us some things like, Creed. Give us films that allow you to demonstrate your talent outside of CBMs, because we all know, no matter who you are as a director, even Ryan, ultimately Kevin Feige will call the shot and say, this is what we're going to make our movie. So Ryan has leeway, as the first Black Panther was a massive, massive, massive hit. So clearly he's going to have more of leeway than a new director will. But ultimately, he will have to submit to Kevin Feige's final call. And if that's the case, then I'd rather see a filmmaker go and work in their own singular artistic space where there's no interruptions, short of a studio saying, make your 3-hour film too. That's the only thing I'm going to say. I want the constraint on time and compression, but I don't need like constraint on artistic vision. That I'm all about. I just don't want, its time is always what it is. Talk about cutting the head stomping shit. Okay, here we go. This is good. We've talked a lot about comic movies. Let's talk for a moment about this. I talk about Drive, and I said that Drive is one of my favorite films of all time. Okay, I think it's a classic. I think a lot of you agree, certainly a cult classic. And I said that if you're going to do Drive and you're going to make the film better, you're going to stop before you show the final shot of Ryan Gosling stomping dude's head in like a pumpkin. And I think that you agree. I'm glad. Because listen, restraint is important. If you do, you've got to show a level of restraint, and I think leaving it in the head is very often better than showing it. So Jaws is the easy example of that. You look at Jaws opening scene, you don't see anything, you just see her go under, and it's on your head. You're like, oh, I can see it, I can see the shark, I can see, and I think Drive missed that. Okay, so less is more. Leave it in the head. Don't show it. There's nothing wrong with not showing it. It sounds like, well, you don't like violence. No, it's not about that. It's about cheapening the film by showing an effect of a guy, like a head smashing. It just cheapens it, okay, in a way. And if I ever made a horror film, it would be violent, but it would also be a little bit more restrained, and I'd keep a lot of the horror in the head. Superhero movies again, Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse, really, they're nowhere as bad as everyone say they were. See, this is what I love when we're in here and we're going, what is this? Oh, good Lord. Boyd Holbrook was masterful in the show Narcos, but weak in Logan. I thought you were going to say he was great in Logan when I first started it. No way. He's not great in Logan. I'm going to trust you on Narcos. I didn't ever watch it. I'm not saying the guy can't act. I'm just saying in this film, in Logan, he's not good, and he's also one of the worst villains in the history of comic book movies. Logan style and Sorrow of Logan. I agree. I told you I like so much of Logan, but you can't say it's one of the best when one of the major elements of the film is so bad. Okay, so when the villain of the film is so forgettable and so unvillainy, then I can't put it up there. But I agree that the style and substance of James Mangold in that film is lights out. When Presser's having his seizure, that scene is, I think it was my favorite scene of that entire year. It's one of those films that I'm wildly fluctuating on with Logan. The highs are super high, and then I come back and I think about the fact that I wish this had a villain that was total badass, that totally worked in the film. Then I would say, oh yeah, yeah, Logan rules. So that's why I have it notched down. It's just because of whether it's I don't know if it's necessarily Boyd Holbrook's fault. I think it's the writing. The villain just doesn't ever do anything that's bad. I need to see a villain do something, no matter who it is. Think of a villain from a comic movie. They do something that alert you to the fact that they are evil versus just saying they're evil. I'm evil. No, you have to do something. You have to show the audience something, not graphic, show them something that says, okay, this guy's a little bit off. Cinematography in Hustlers was great. Good. I totally agree with you. Tracking shots were beautiful. And thank you for bringing that up on Sunday. That was a thing we talked about. And I love the cinematography of Hustlers. And that opening shot is a long oneer, right? A one take, very much like The Place Beyond the Pines. I told you guys the story. If I haven't, I'll make it very short. When I met Lorraine, I saw Hustlers. I saw the beginning of the movie, and I go, that is the very similar opening to The Place Beyond the Pines. And when I talked to the cinematographer, he actually stopped me, walked me up to Lorraine, said, hey, he has something he wants to tell you. And I told her that the beginning of Hustlers is very much like The Place Beyond the Pines. And she looked at me like she saw a ghost. And I said, yeah. She said, who told you? I go, I saw it. I can see that. And she said, that's exactly what we patterned it off of. It was that shot. So that's cool. When you have a director that says, my God, you're the one person who noticed that. That's what we talk about. When you watch these films, be paying attention to the choices made by the directors, number one, because that is what makes a film great. And that's why I really think Thor Love and Thunder, you guys are wrong. Those of you who don't like it. Taika Waititi is a very solid direction job on that film. It's his best film. It's better than Jojo Rabbit. I'm telling you, I know I'm right on this. It's very good filmmaking. The Anya time sequence into Welcome to the Jungle, that whole montage beginning of the film is really great. Not good, elite filmmaking. And I think you guys, we need to have a discussion about identifying great directing. Because I'm not going to, okay. I'm going to say this. A lot of people that I know who watch films aren't able to discern the difference between average, good, great, elite, outstanding, otherworldly direction. It's not hard to see. It's going to be a combination of cinematography. You got the score in there. You've got the editing. All of these things work to mesh together to create the artistic vision, because the director is the one in charge of the film, obviously, and that person is going to be making the final decisions on everything that you see, assuming the studio did not take the film out of the director's hands. If they didn't, and they gave the director the leeway artistically to make the film they wanted to, then that's when you get to see the full thrust, the full power and might of that director. And when you watch films like Drive, when you watch films like Saint Maud, Social Network, I would argue certainly a lot of elements of Thor Love and Thunder, there is outstanding direction in those moments. And that is why direction is the number one thing for me. There's no contest whatsoever. Direction is the clear, most important, singular thing to a film. And it's the vision of that director artistically and what they decide to do with that story specifically on the big screen that is the number one thing that matters. Yes, you have to have good performances. Yes, you have to have a good screenplay. Yes, you have to, but ultimately the director is the one in charge of and needs to get all of that out of the people in front of him and behind them, right? The crew and the performers to make the film that she wants to make. And I'm just telling you, you guys have to identify outstanding direction. And Thor Love and Thunder has that in spots. I would say a lot. The Shadow Realm, Shadow Planet, Shadow Realm, whatever it was called. Those two sequences I said, Anya Time into Welcome to the Jungle, and there's many more there's other spots. Very good direction. Not just very good, great direction. There. JT, I thought Creed movies were both good. Can't wait for Creed 3 in November. Michael B. Jordan direction. Hopefully he learned a lot from Ryan Coogler. I like 1 more than 2, but 2 is very good. And then we'll see what he does here with 3. I don't know what they're going to do with the story. I feel like we've told the story. I don't know where we're going to head with this. But that said, Creed 1 is a film that blew me away. I saw it on the Warner Brothers lot before it opened. Yes, I'm name dropping. Okay, but studio dropping. But I saw it early and I go, whoa. And I knew it was from Fruitvale Station. I knew it was from Ryan Coogler. And I go, wow, Creed kicks ass, like total ass kicking film. And it points again to Ryan Coogler being an immense directorial talent. And you see it again. Go back when you watch a film. I'm going to do from now on. Whenever I talk about a film, I'm especially a young director. I'm going to make certain. I think I do a decent job of this, of pointing this out and calling attention to it, so that when that person is big down the road, you're like, I heard it first on Midnight Movie Talk. He identified that, and it's not all the time. It's rare. In fact, it's rare that you watch and see a director that is so far ahead. By the way, I saw 3,000 Years of Longing. I don't want to discuss it right now because it comes out at the end of August. There's no point to talk about it in early July for a film that comes out literally in 5 weeks, 6 weeks from now. But 3,000 Years of Longing, when you look at George Miller, you're talking about a guy who's really stylistically one of the most interesting directors that's ever worked in the medium. I have a lot of things to say about the film, but I don't want to talk about it right now. But there's a guy that oh my God, Babe, Pig in the City. How great is Babe, Pig in the City? What a weird, wacky, strange, just out there sequel, but it all works in this world that he creates that is just only he could create that. What George Miller does in Babe, Pig in the City. These are the kind of directional choices that I'm looking for, and I hope I see some of tomorrow night in The Gray Man. I mean, I like what the Russos do. I just am worried after watching the hell was the Tom Holland movie? Cherry. I'm worried after watching Cherry. Cherry's not a good film. I mean, Cherry's an over-directed film. There is such a thing as a film that's over-directed, right? The cuts are too much. Some of the cinematography it was almost like we're going to show off with the cinematography, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't work. Watch Cherry. So many things wrong with Cherry. I hope that the Russos didn't go full Cherry on The Gray Man, or we're going to have a problem. If I keep talking about this, I'm going to get disinvited from the premiere tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, I'll be at the movie, and they may or may not say, Eric, you can come to the after party and hang out with Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans and Anna. And you're like, okay. Here's the truth. If you go to those parties, which by the way, I may or may not be at tomorrow night at this time, if I'm at the party, a lot of times they have Ryan Gosling. Maybe he shows up. Chris Evans will, because Chris Evans is cool. I've seen Chris Evans out and about at events. He's kind of a guy he's not going to shy away. Gosling's a little more reserved, but what they end up doing is they have them there and they have them like almost in the corner, like roped off. So like you can't talk to these people, but they're here. They're over there. Look, that's Ryan Gosling. I can see him over there with all the security. So tomorrow night, I can't wait to tell you the stories about tomorrow night on Thursday here on Midnight Movie Talk. We have less than 3 minutes here, and then we're wrapping it here tonight. Remember, Thursday night, The Gray Man, thoughts, review. Where the Crawdads Sing, thoughts, review. 2 movies on Thursday and box office. Thursday's a big show. Tomorrow night, I may be having drinks with Ryan Gosling, like as he's across the hall. Hey, look, it's Ryan. Hey, I'll have my vodka tonic. That's what I'll probably get tomorrow night. If they invite me to the after party, I'll let you guys know how it goes. A couple more here before we go. Do you think a director needs 2 films under their belt before we can say they're great and not just a fluke? No, I don't. I think you can tell instantly. Olivia Wilde, I would say maybe. I think she's very talented. I know this. Rose Glass, I don't need to see another thing from Rose Glass. After watching Saint Maud, I am 150,000% certain that Rose Glass will be a director of immense worth as we continue on. As we go on through the years, Rose Glass, and first of all, I know one thing has already told me that I might be right. Did you notice who decided to work with Rose Glass for the next movie? Because this person saw Saint Maud and saw the exact same eye-popping directorial choices that you see in Saint Maud. It is Kristen Stewart who said, I want to do Rose Glass's next film. That is identifying talent. Rose Glass is going to be I wish I could buy stock. If you could buy stock in directors, like go to Vegas and say, I will take $200 on Rose Glass, and then literally in 5 years, 200 becomes 5,000 or 10,000 or 20, literally because the odds are low because like she had a small film, wasn't even released in theaters, I think in the UK, but not here. St. Maud, like, oh yeah, you can have, put 200 on her. We'll give you, 500 to 1 odds. I'm like, oh, good luck. Thank you. I'll be taking my money. Rose Glass, future superstar director. A couple more and then we're done here. Gray Man should not be 200 million. I can't believe it's 200 million. That's one thing I'm going to try to eliminate from my mind, but I'm sure I'll see tomorrow. I'll be like, where's the 200 million? Again, Gray Man discussion Thursday night. And yes, I would agree with this. Cherry was too long and boring, and I hope that the Russos have corrected things and gotten back on their end game level. Okay. And let's hope that that's the case with Gray Man. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Make that Thursday. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be at the movie and maybe, just maybe at the after party. We'll talk about it Thursday along with Where the Crawdads Sing. Yes, I am putting myself through that film for you, not for me, for you. I'll see you Thursday night. Thanks for watching MMT.